Hey folks, it's Jim from Slick Audio. Cool sign, huh? Which you'll see it again at the end of the video. Hey, want to talk briefly how to put together a budget-friendly studio. Now, usually budget-friendly and studio don't go well together at all. You start talking music instruments, do you get budget? Oh God! But believe it or not, you really can't put together a budget-friendly studio. It's not like it was 20 years ago where it would cost you, $250,000 or better, put a studio together. So, let's talk some very specifics, shall we? Budget-friendly would be, your entry-level basic studio. So for about $1,100, you can get your paws on one of our M560s. Now, it's not going to be a record breaker at that price. If you want to add a couple more dollars to it, you certainly could get it to something that'll really clock very well. Then with that, we need, if you recall from a previous video that I did, there's 4 or 5 pieces that are required for a studio. So the computer obviously is one. So again, our Slick Audio M560 would be a great starter machine, and believe it or not, it's very powerful. So it's beyond that if you configure it properly. So call us on that one or chat with us on the website. So secondly, then would be your interface, your I/O. For a budget, USB is by far the least expensive, and there's some great models out there. I'm trying not to name names, but I'm going to have to. So for PreSonus, Focusrite, Motu, there's some great USB devices out there. Now, they're going to be USB 2.0 at the budget-friendly cost. So if you can pony for the extra couple of bucks and you can do a USB 3, for example, PreSonus makes the Studio 192. That would be a great option, but it is definitely a little bit more money. But still in the budget dollar, we're talking sub $1,000 for an interface. And you certainly, you can't go wrong with any of the companies that I mentioned before. There are some others as well that are just as good. It's personal preference. If you're unsure which model or what to buy to suit your needs, again, give us a call and sit chat. Because otherwise, I could spend a half an hour to an hour just talking about the basic, models from 3 units. So that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose is, how do I get something together and budget friendly for home? Okay, so now you have a computer and you have an interface. So now you can record your sounds and you can listen back to your sounds, almost. You need a set of speakers, or what we call monitors. So for studio monitors, this is a tough thing. I could give you recommendations, and that doesn't necessarily mean, food reference there, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be perfect for you. Studio monitors are the most difficult thing because they need to speak to you as a listener. What do I mean by that? When you're doing a mix down, look, recording tracks is nothing. When you're doing that mix down and you're putting all the the drums and the bass and the guitars and keys and everything together, or whatever instruments you have in your particular project that you're working on, or projects, you'd need to get that perfect balance. And then when it's all said and done, I'm skipping a mastering step here, but so when it's all said and done, you want to take it out to your car or play it at I'll use an old term, boombox, but somewhere else where it's going to actually sound great. Not just good, but great. So the monitors have to be very, very, very true to you. Hence why there is a difference between studio monitors and just your average everyday hi-fi speakers. Hi-fi speakers they're great for home, but they're not good to mix on because they exaggerate certain frequencies, and that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for flat response in a studio. So I personally like the Atom monitors. They're my absolute favorite. I wouldn't use anything else at this point. Who knows, 10 years from now I may choose to when I'm even more deaf than I am now. But as I'm looking at my S3XHs now, love them, absolutely love them. But they definitely have some budget-friendly models that have been out and would do. They're just amazing. Actually, I have a very tiny pair here on my work computer, and it is they're nasty, man. They sound great. So, but there's a pile of other companies, Personas being one of them, for example. They make a great low-end monitor. Mackie makes a good low-end monitor. I've got a couple of them floating around the studio here. So, so that's the next piece that you need. Expect to pay for a cheap set of monitors. You could pay $400, $500, $300. You can go cheaper than that. I wouldn't recommend it. If you can afford to spend more on that, I'd rather see you spend more on the speakers than spend more on the interface. The speakers or monitors are going to be the source of truth for you, whereas the interface is going to sound good for what you're doing. It's going to sound fine. So I'd rather have you save a little bit on the interface and pop for maybe $1,000 or a little bit more for a set of monitors and a sub, or just plain old set of monitors. So that does it for the speakers. I'm putting that to bed. So that's 3 pieces we have. So now you have a computer that you can record to, and you can play back and actually hear it. So now the big question is microphones. So I'm going to touch base on that. Again, we're talking about a project, or sorry, not a project, but a budget studio, home studio. So microphones, I'm partial to Blue mics. Again, look, we all have our favorites, so don't take mine, to heart. I've got Mojave. I think one of the best is definitely not budget friendly. MA300. It's the most amazing mic I think I've ever heard in my life. But anyways, there are some very inexpensive microphones from Sterling Audio. And again, guys, this isn't. I'm not cutting down by not mentioning any other product. I'm trying to be neutral here, but I'm trying to give some examples for the newbies that are watching this that want to get into it but aren't sure what to do yet. So, again, Sterling Audio, they make a decent microphone at a very, very reasonable price. Audio-Technica, hard to beat. The AT2020, AT25, 2025, sorry, they're $100, $200 microphones respectively. They sound freaking phenomenal. You could easily get away with that. So let's just stick with the 2025. It's like $200 for a mic. And then you're going to need a mic stand to go with that. And a mic cable, XLR mic cable. At that point, you should at least have enough to record some basic stuff. Now, you're not going to be able to record a drum kit, so let me talk about that for a minute. So noobs, that's all you really need to get started. Oh, actually, I forgot a piece, Jim. The DAW software. It would help if you had a DAW. Cubase, one of my favorites. I'm a Nuendo guy. Cubase, same animal. For the most part, for all intents and purposes for you, for this video. PreSonus Studio One Pro, phenomenal piece of software, and very light. Reaper is another great product. Love that. There's a lot of them. Folks, a lot of you are going to say, what about Pro Tools? That is up to you. I personally am not a fan. I've got it in the studio because we have to do testing with it and stuff, but I find it very archaic. It's 10 years behind everybody else. So I'm just being honest, it is what it is. So no offense to the Avid fans out there, but truth be told, they're 10 years behind everybody else. So, and probably always will be, and now that their new CEO is hopefully not doing anything stupid like the old one did, you never know where that could go. It may improve, but don't hold your breath on that one. Sorry to bust on Pro Tools, but I have to. It's just totally inferior to everything else that's out there. So that's my opinion of it, and most people that do run studios will say the same. Now, unless they've used Pro Tools for 20 years, and then they're going to turn around and say, "Oh, that's the best software in the world." You enjoy it. Good luck. Have a time. So, anyways, I would avoid it if you're considering DAW software and you're thinking about Pro Tools. Avoid it like the plague. You're going to get so much more bang for your buck in using Cubase Pro, which the new version now is 9.5, so 9.5 Pro, or PreSonus Studio One or Reaper. So you can't go wrong. Okay, now I'm moving on to a slightly other topic. Well, actually, same topic, but just a little bit more advanced in the I/O range. If you can afford to do a Thunderbolt interface, our M560 will handle it. The PreSonus Quantum 2 would be the most recommended. It is a powerhouse of an interface, or the Quantum, which is just double the size. One's 4 inputs, the other one's 8, I believe, 8x8, 4x4. So the Quantum 2, believe it or not, you would think it's the other way, but Quantum is the big one, and the Quantum 2 is the smaller one. Great interfaces, and performance is just out of this world. So I think the Quantum 2, Chris, do you know, is that like $600-700 somewhere in there?
I think so.
So, yeah, for $600-700, you can't go wrong. I mean, it's a couple $100 more than a USB interface, and it's going to kill it as far as performance is concerned. And what do I mean by performance? By latency. So, from the time you speak into the microphone, and it goes through the computer and through the DAW and back out of the computer to your speakers, to your monitors, or your headphones, whichever you're using at the time, that would be your latency, your total round-trip latency. So, when people talk about latency, that's what they're talking about. So, it's important. The better the interface, not necessarily the more expensive the interface, the better the interface, the faster it's going to get it out. And FireWire is untouchable. Or it's FireWire, my bad. That was a slip, man, all the way. Thunderbolt is the way to go. So our machines are Thunderbolt 3, so it does require an adapter, and we sell them on our site. StarTech makes the most compatible and best adapter out there right now. It's $80, plus or minus. I can't remember exactly, but and then of course you're going to need a Thunderbolt 2 cable, because most of the devices that are out there today are Thunderbolt 2. As I said, most, not all, but that's sufficient. It's faster than you're ever going to need, and it only uses 5% of that bus anyways for audio. So that's going to about do it for this video. We'll do another installment that's going to take it a little bit further than what I just did now. But certainly you could post questions below, and definitely do the like if you like the video. If you don't like the video, tough shit, sorry. And how's that for Jim being bold? Let me see. He always does. So, anyways, like us, like us on Facebook, like us on every social media platform there is, because it's just, it is what it is. It's what you do today. It's what you do. I feel like I'm doing a commercial. So give a call, man, or at least go out to the website and chat. Chat with us. We'll chat back to you. I might, Chris might, somebody will, and you'll get some answers. And we'll definitely work with you, and we'll put a studio together for you, the mini me studio or a big studio, whatever you want, and we'll make it work, man. So be good. Talk to you soon. Cheers.